AFL. How can we assess learning from our new vantage point? For decades, trainee teachers have been told to circulate the room, don't sit down, speak to every pupil every lesson, and other such valid and wise approaches to teaching. These approaches are, of course, designed to ensure that no pupil's learning or behaviour is forgotten, left behind, or misjudged. But we live in unusual times. Many of us find ourselves teaching exclusively from the front of the room, maybe even from behind some fluorescent yellow tape, and all of our best practice and training is suddenly turned upside down. How do you speak to the pupils at the back of the room? How do you ensure understanding when during the course of a lesson you are unable to have a quiet conversation with a struggling pupil? What do you do when they are working and you are unable to circulate? Just as the lockdown saw many people returning to their long-forgotten hobbies, so it may be time for teachers to dust off those long-forgotten AFL strategies of the days of yore. For example, it may be time to abandon hands up altogether. We all know that really it's not the best way to ensure progress as the same pupils raise their hands again and again, but we all use it anyway and have been able to counteract the effects by reaching those quieter pupils in person. Without that possibility, now is a good time to consider a blanket ban on hands up and return to the trainee teacher's favourite lolly sticks and other such random name generators. Of course, the best kept AFL secret is that we all skew lolly sticks anyway, so that we speak to whomever we wish to hear from. The pupils will adjust remarkably quickly to a blanket rule, and you can ensure that you hear from any pupils you feel necessary. But where does this leave pupils for whom verbal responses in lessons create anxiety and worry, or who find themselves embarrassed if they're not able to produce the expected answer? One element of current school guidelines which could be advantageous is the requirement for pupils to face the front. This front-facing learning throws wide the possibilities for the faithful old whiteboards and traffic light cards for AFL, as in theory, most pupils cannot see what their peers are showing. Of course, none of these systems replace the individual and group conversations we have been able to have previously, which do so much to build pupil confidence and move learning forward. This does leave us with an uncomfortable reality. Now, more than ever, progress tracking through produced work becomes even more significant. Notice the omission of the word marking from the previous statement. Not all work needs a written comment, mark or acknowledgement. But when we cannot physically get to them, our pupils' work becomes one of the clearest indicators of their learning and understanding. Figuring out how to manage this reality without creating an unmanageable workload becomes, in turn, one of the many professional challenges we face in the coming months. Remember, you can read all of our blogs at www.fulcrumlearning.co.uk/blog, listen on Facebook and YouTube, and follow us on Twitter, Instagram and Facebook.